And we head on over now to the sports studio and say a very good evening to Mark Seal.
Well, very good evening to you as well. Director of Cricket at Cricket West Indies, Jimmy Adams, says they are doing everything possible to ensure that if the tour to England goes ahead in July, that it will be done so in the safest manner possible for all involved. Adams spoke to CBC's Damien Best in an exclusive interview.
Former Windies batsman Jimmy Adams has faced many challenges on the field of play, but now as an administrator tasked with developing the sport in the region, he's encountered perhaps his greatest test in COVID-19. The director of cricket at CWI must now find ways to operate in a new normal, with the pending tour to England a pivotal part of building a stronger test team.
There are ongoing discussions with the coaching support staff to players across the region to ensure that what can be done is being done. So if physical work can be done by individuals, that is being followed up by staff. Because at the end of the day, if you do, as you say, go into a biosecure environment for a few weeks, you'd rather be doing technical work as opposed to be doing physical work. So that is something that can be done from now, and we will try and bite that off in this period. And then when the opportunity arises to start doing actual cricket, batting, bowling, and so on, then that gets planned into the next phase. And it is what it is. It's no sense sitting down and over-analyzing. You could come up with a million things that might be detrimental or not usual, or stuff that you think might be something that players haven't been through before. But I think the one thing that you can do to help generally is just to foster a sense of this is an adventure, this is something that none of us have been through before.
With COVID-19 keeping most players indoors, Adams agrees it has given many players in the test team an opportunity to fully recover from injury. And it also makes for an interesting scenario when it comes to selection.
If the tour does come off, we might have to travel with a larger squad than possible, because they're looking at taking all the personnel you need for all situations. So if we're going to play warm-up games, we're going to have to do it amongst ourselves. They wouldn't want a situation of flying in players if you had injuries and that kind of thing. So it is quite possible that we will go with a squad that is larger than the usual 14 or 15 that we would have done under regular circumstances. But just in general, I would agree with you. Yes, it has given players time to get themselves right physically. We have, I think, a lot of up-and-coming talent in the region that is starting to put its hand up across the various formats and sort of crying out for recognition. So I don't know if I would have opted for a scenario like this to prove that point.
The 52-year-old admitted that plans for the West Indies A team are also in doubt this year.
We had a home series planned for this summer against South Africa A that would have included both one-day cricket and red ball cricket. And we see the A team program as a key development tool to prepare our players, our first-class players for international cricket. The camps that would have preceded that A tour and the A tour itself would have are what we consider to be that gap or that fill, as you said, between first-class and international cricket. It is looking like that A tour might be a struggle.
The journey to rebuilding West Indies cricket just got a little bit longer, and it now seems filled with obstacles. Not on the field, but off of it. Damien Best, CBC Sports.
Well, Cricket West Indies President Ricky Skerritt has hinted that batting superstar Chris Gayle could face disciplinary action for his public outburst regarding the management of the Jamaica Talawas. Gayle took to social media in a 3-part series on his new YouTube page, lashing out at coach and former teammate Ramnaresh Sarwan and the CEO Jeff Miller, accusing them of influencing the owner of the Talawas franchise not to retain him for 2020. Skerritt, who was speaking on Nationwide Sports in Jamaica, says Gill's outbursts were unfortunate, but pointed out that it can't just be allowed to die because the sport has rules, and players must respect the clause in their contracts.
This most recent matter is not over. I hope it doesn't become a world matter in terms of the career of Mr. Gale, because it's been a very outstanding career, and I really would want to see it being brought to an end by this event. But my point is, I think Chris is going to face I'm sure that there's some kind of discussion taking place at the moment between Chris and the CPL, because the CPL has rules which will come into view here.
Well, Gale no longer has a retainer contract with Cricket West Indies, but Skerritt says the regional governing body still has more than a passing interest in this case, and they will be watching.
We kind of have a watching interest, but we'll wait and see what happens. I'm not condoning Chris. I'm not judging Chris. I think Chris clearly has a number of concerns on his mind, and he decided to go public. Personally, I think that was unfortunate, but the process will have to take its course, and that process will get triggered because he is a contracted player in the CPL within the West Indies League.
Mark is back now with our final look at sport.
Yeah, so we're going to start with football, where the continued working relationship between the Argentina Football Association and the Caribbean Football Union recently saw a number of the region's coaches and administrators engaged in an online seminar. It was geared toward the development of coaching at the youth level. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke sat in on the session.
Just over 70 members of the regional football fraternity, along with some members of media, participated in the Zoom session, which was facilitated through the Argentine Embassy here in Bridgetown. Themed National Youth Teams Management and Training Models, the presentation was conducted by former Argentina professional footballer Hermes Aldo, Desio Jormino Amar, the professional football physical trainer, and Roman Manacero, a professional football coach with vast experience both in Argentina and abroad. Participants were able to learn firsthand about the work experience, training models, and management of the national youth teams of Argentina, a country recognized worldwide for its long-term work and several achievements in the underage squads. Sitting in on the session was president of the CFU, Randy Harris, and he sees developing the region's youth teams, especially at this time, vital, as with the World Cup slated to be hosted in the CONCACAF region in 6 years' time, developing the talent now will augur well for the future.
In 2026, our confederation, CONCACAF, will be hosting the World Cup in 3 countries. It means that our group in CONCACAF have 3 places automatically from being the host of the World Cup. It will mean that the Caribbean will have another 3.5 places. And as president of the CFU, I want to be in a position where I can assist the CFU in ensuring that at least 2 of our countries qualify for that World Cup. The only way that we can do that in the Caribbean is by further development and good planning. And where we fall down most is in our coaching and coaching education departments. And we have to really look to have more of our people interested and qualified to take these young people, men and women, on a journey of love in this game of football.
As mentioned, the Argentine Embassy was the main facilitator of the session, and Ambassador His Excellency Gustavo Pandiani repledged his country's commitment to the region, supporting the president in the view that the time is now to get the ball rolling in developing our young players. He also urged the CFU member states to work hand in hand to keep the sport alive in the region. The Caribbean Football Union and Argentina Football Association would have signed a memorandum of understanding back in February of 2019, and on the cards are a number of other initiatives of collaboration in the coming months. Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
Back to cricket, where West Indies women will have to wait longer before continuing their quest for next year's ICC World Cup, as the qualifying tournament in Sri Lanka has been postponed because of the coronavirus pandemic. The event, which is featuring 10 teams, including the Windies, Ireland, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Netherlands, Papua New Guinea, Thailand, United States, Zimbabwe, and Bangladesh, was due to take place from July 3rd to 19th. 3 teams from that tournament will qualify to join England, Australia, South Africa, India, and hosts New Zealand in the World Cup, which is scheduled for February and March 2021. The ICC has also postponed the start of the qualification process for the men's Under-19 World Cup in 2022. The Guyana Amazon Warriors have chosen to retain 6 local Guyanese players and 3 regional West Indies players ahead of the 2020 Hero Caribbean Premier League. Among the signings are Shimron Hetmeyer and Kimo Paul of Guyana, Nicholas Puran of Trinidad and Tobago, and Brandon King of Jamaica. Another homeboy, Kevin Sinclair, is the emerging player. International retentions and signings will be announced at a later date. The Warriors are the losing finalists from last year, going down to the Barbados Tridents in the final after a perfect run up to that final hurdle. The CPL is scheduled to take place between August 19th and September 26th, of course, if the circumstances surrounding COVID-19 significantly improve.